this reply app. So a quick reminder, what did we learn from, it will be brief. What did we learn at the end of the previous lesson? We looked at the main activity and we realized that in the main activity we check current configuration. So inside of onCreate, we call this function, calculate window size class based on the current activity. So it gives, current activity provides information about sizes of the screen. Okay, this one, dimensions of the screen. And window size is passed as a parameter to composable reply app. So this is how it started. So if we want to apply the same logic to other apps, we have to do this extra step, because all other examples so far didn't do it. Surprisingly, all other examples, future examples from Google in their course also don't do it. So they have only one example that really adjusts into the screen. Other examples just ignored. They didn't want to bother about it again. So a window size is passed to reply app, and in the reply app, this is only previews. So reply app is here. This is window size. So they made switch based on window size, and you see this looks like enumerator type, right? Window size, compact, medium, and expanded. I don't think it's enumerator type. It's probably some, definitely data type. I don't know what is inside. So let's check. No, it's not is. So it looks like it's enumeration or something similar. Okay, but it's not important as long as we know how to use it. We also learned at the previous lesson that we can make selection based on this way. We can make selection based on 3 widths and 3 heights. So potentially we can have 9 choices. This particular program is making decision based on only on widths. So what happens here? They define it variable at the top, a navigation type, and another variable content type. So content type, it is what to show. Navigation type, what kind of navigation toolbars to show. So they just define it here, navigation type and content type. They also define it two enumerations. Enumerators, reply navigation type, bottom navigation, reply navigation type, where it is, reply navigation type, I believe it's somewhere even the same screen. So let's check. No? Reply. No, it's not here. Reply screen, reply detail screen, content screen, view model. I forgot the location of this enumerator, where they put it. But anyway, these enumerators, they just use it as flags. Assign it to these variables, navigation type and content type. So bottom navigation, it's bottom navigation bar on the screen. Rail, it is left side. Navigation drawer, it is permanent, open it. So it's another navigation from the left side. And depending on that, compact, medium, and expand, it is either showing just list or list and details. Just because navigation is changing depending on screen size, for example, navigation from list to detail, it could happen navigation from list to detail, or just updating detail on the screen when we click on list item. So navigation logic is changing depending on screen size. So they decided not to use navigation system. Perhaps it looked simpler for them this way. So they use variable values to determine state of the GUI, essentially what to show. Similar approach, I use a similar approach in simplest version of rock, paper, scissors, because I use it flag, variable, play or result to decide which of the screens to show. So I definitely borrowed this idea from here, because otherwise I would think that it is too ugly approach. But once I saw it here, I decided, okay, well, why not? I will use it as a demo of this approach in a simpler example. Can we use navigation system when we have list and details? Yeah, even if for different screen sizes. This topic was discussed on developerandroid.com when I was teaching this course a year ago in fall. So I could refer to that article on developerandroid.com and discuss the approach. Unfortunately, they removed this article. I assume that they decided that this approach is not great. Or another reason why they probably removed it because of new articles that I showed you at the previous lesson showing slightly different approach. So I decided, okay, that is not great. So what did they do? They combined navigation and also flag together. This way they implemented navigation from list to details adjusted for different screen sizes. So sometimes it shows list and details together, sometimes it is just list or details depending on screen width. As this example is not doing it. I made short example, not short. I made example showing navigation from list to details, and I will explain this today. So please don't do similar approach in your assignment 2, because in assignment 2 it is simply a lot simpler just to share information with the same view model. Because this is just, please believe me, it is easier at this moment. Okay? But since we need to learn how to pass data through address line anyway, at least in simple examples, this will be discussed today. So what happens next? They assign these variables and they call reply home screen function, and they pass these two variables as flags. And this function has a bunch of ifs, or actually switches, to decide which composables to show on the screen. Okay. So with is view model. View model, here it is. So the created view model is is variable inside of global function that takes entire screen. And they pass this variable to home screen function, which is fine. There is no navigation, and this is how we did it. And it works even with navigation. So when we create view model this way, it is shared between screens So we can call for the same view model. We can pass this view model to other screens the same way. It is interesting fact that if you create view model as a parameter of a screen, situation actually changes. Of the screen when you do navigation. When you combine this with dependency injection, it suddenly stops working because it cannot inject dependencies into that view model. So this approach requires extra library for HILT and navigation together. This is kind of not immediately obvious, but you will see it into the example. That if we want to create view models per screens, we have to using HILT dependency injection, we have to include special library for it. Otherwise, it's just don't inject it. Unless you create it globally this way. If you create it globally, it's fine, it will work. Okay, so this was kind of step aside from for view model. In this case, they use global view model, it's only one. Maybe it is not, maybe it's probably a bad scenario if you have a lot of screens because you share the same data and this data is not necessary for all screens at the same time. So better approach would be just some kind of database which is global, and view models is retrieving information from database on as needed basis. Database is storing data in a file, so it's not in memory. So this is why it's optimization. Here it is. Reply home screen. So they pass it to two variables, and they didn't pass view model, right? Okay. So please notice a view model, once it is created, it is not passed down the chain. And this is what Google recommends. Do not pass view model down the chain as parameter. Just, you can use it as parameter once, or just create it locally, like here, but do not pass it from one function to another function as a parameter. Why? If they know better, essentially. Some internal optimizations. So they claim that this becomes less and less efficient if you keep passing this as a parameter. So Google, for this reason, they say it's less efficient. They do not do it, and of course you shouldn't do it, and I don't do it. So we pass it at least, we pass it once, and after this we don't. And in this case, it's not even once. So it is created here. See, and only data is traveling, right? No view model. But references to functions of view model are fine to pass, because references to methods of view model are fine to pass. Okay. So let's find where it is reply home screen function. So reply home screen. Here it is, reply home screen function. Okay. What is this beast? You see, they created a list that contains, this is the defined class. It is not system class, navigation item content. They defined a list that contains objects, and each object is contains flag where to go. So this is flag where to go. Icon to show, and description. And one more. So what is for? They use this list in different navigation spots, like a left navigation rail, toolbar, and also drawer, and they run loops through this list to create these items on the screen. It may or may not be a good idea, it really depends how you use it, but this definitely works. So they created lists reusable in different navigation bars or toolbars, and they create items in those composables by running loops through this list. So just kind of reusing similar logic to create it. Okay. After this, you see if. If it is permanent navigation drawer. They create this drawer by calling permanent navigation drawer function. Where this function lives? 1 second. Okay, let's try to find out. I doubt that it is system function. One second. Maybe it is. Maybe it is. Drawer content, navigation drawer content, modify test tags, and this is content description. Permanent drawer sheet. It appears like it is. Okay. Content. And this is the passage, this navigation item content list. Let's find it. I forgot this one. This is so. No, it is defined here, content. Navigation drawer header, separate function. But permanent navigation drawer is not here, it's probably system function. Okay, whatever. So they make if for that case, and they create drawer, and this is what shows on the right-hand side of it. Reply app content. Okay. Next, if it is not the case, they show this part. They also have flag. And this flag means we show list or we don't show list. The reason is they have this flag that sometimes it is just list and content, sometimes it's just content of item. Depending on if screen is narrow, we can show either list or content of the item. But when screen is wide, we can show list and both, and content of one item. So for this reason, they create a flag showing home page, which is actually means showing list. And when it is false, it means we show just details of something. They also have an option here for arrangement for rail and for bottom bar. So when I program with examples, I carefully look at for it and essentially copy-pasted the logic. This program it's quite tedious to explain line by line, and it's probably not even worth it to explain it. So if you need this kind of logic in any project, it's probably easier just to find and copy these ideas. But before doing it, look up maybe something better is already available. And also, view model partially has a state in it. Right? So there is a state function, no, state object stored in state flow, and this UI state object, this is what I previously discussed at the end of the previous lesson, is essentially it's a bunch of flags. And data use it as well as flags. So not perfect, but it works. They don't have any kind of database, so they store all mailboxes in, by the way, data is hard-coded. They store all mailboxes as a map inside of view model. So this is all content of the FAXML. This is just part of it, which is currently selected. So when you click on navigation item, part of it is just assigned here. When you click on item of the list, they update this ML. And this is flag essentially means show list. We are showing list or not showing list. So it's also part of the brute force navigation. No, this is flag, which mailbox to show. But this is actual emails in that mailbox. I want to wrap up about it. So it's a good idea as introduction of this approach, but since it's not used by Google anywhere again in the examples, just to be aware that logic is possible. If you need it, look up, but maybe by the time when you need it, something better comes up. So at this moment, I will just say, okay, fine. Okay. And definitely, if you want to readjust the screen during rotation of it, this logic definitely applies. And it is simpler. You can also make trigger what you show based on the width of the screen. And you can check width of the screen the same way as here. So as exercise, you can just take any examples that I posted and try to display different layout when screen is horizontal. But try to do it only after you finish assignment 2, obviously. Because this is quite an investment, I looked it up yesterday, and it appears to me that I need more than 1 hour to do it. So I decided, okay, maybe sometime later. Okay? So this is the rationale for now. Okay? Questions? No? So let's continue into something that's likely to stay for a while.